Hello, everyone. Long time no sing. I was just live like a few, like, like an hour ago with Stephen Young, and now I'm here with my dear Adriana. So yeah, we can already feel the 888 energies, fully mode on. And so here we are. Why not in this very interesting date? I know that according to the Gregorian calendar, today's an 888. And even though we know the Gregorian calendar is a time system that was generated to deviate us from the cosmic time, from the original time, it also has holds keys for us to use that very same technology to torsion it and use it on our behalf, in our collective behalf, for bringing in this new earth into full manifestation. So having said this, hey Adriana.
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
What a big sacred 8-8 Lionsgate portal. All about the lion. I've always talked about it. The sun is in Leo. And then we have a Jupiter in Leo. So that's kind of adding the Leo. We just finished the Barbeau's basket, which was just so powerful of bringing all the wishes in. We also have a trine to Uranus in Gemini today. So Gemini is all about Mercury communication, fast movement, back and forth. So that's why today it's one of the best days to manifest. So today's the day when you speak your new reality into existence. So what are you going to speak into existence today? What are the positive affirmations that you're going to say? What things are you going to project into the future that are going to manifest for you? So yes, welcome to this amazing, serious Latin Lions Gate open, right? So ladder, Lyran, and Sirius codes coming through, as we were mentioning earlier. The Egyptian upgrades have started, but this is very tied to Egypt. So very much so, a lot of Lyran codes, a lot of Lyran energies coming through. So this is very powerful.
yes, yes. And Lyra Regulus, the royal star, or
Mm-hmm.
well, it's not only a royal star; it's a fixed star or Behenian star, which
Mm-hmm.
which are, for the ones that don't know, the Behenian or fixed stars are the stars that they would use as uh, to navigate, as points of references when people was navigating. Yet they're more than that. If you dive into the astrological magic or technology of what these stars represent, they are, let's say, accesses that are bringing major energy. So therefore, whatever you configured through those pillars then it's going to bring high coherence into your intentions, into your manifestations, into whatever you choose to bring forward into your reality right here, right now. Because imagine that you are getting a fixed pillar, a fixed anchor. So therefore, whatever you create will be, having that stability. And when it comes to royal stars, as the case of Regulus is, then what you are having is um, one of the four pillars of the constructions of the four worlds, the four cardinal points, the four, um, the main four directions in which the reality unfolds. And that actually was a very ancient teaching to, again, configure your reality, even more so than in the case of the fixed stars, because the royal stars are, if we go by levels, then the fixed stars are one of the ultimate anchors that you can use actually to manifest your reality. So anytime that there is an alignment with these royal four stars, it's very important for you to, well, if you like astrology, that you take them into consideration, because imagine that they are bringing pure energy of coherence beyond the overlays of this reality, tapping into the primordial field. Why these stars and why not others? Because if we see the stars as just these nodes, these interstellar nodes, that are creating specific geometries that generate more ones more harmony than others, or that based on their frequency can bring in more coherence into the type of manifestation that you want to bring forward. For instance, Regulus is very much connected to the heart of the lion, the order,
Yes.
righteousness, so because even Regulus,
Courage.
courage, exactly, exactly, that force. So then you want, every time that there is an alignment or an gateway connecting to Regulus, it's important to connect, to actually take that into consideration and put your intentions, focusing very much into the holofractal universe, by visualizing that there is no separation between you and Regulus. There is like all this signaling back and forward of information, and you tapping into the power of that star, and the star tapping into your own power. Because remember, it's always about an exchange, not only what the other consciousness can offer to you, also what you can offer to the other consciousness, not as a form of conditioning, yet more of a form of expansion and, magnetism, if that's what you want to manifest. Where do you how do you want to vibrate in your reality?
Mhm. Correct. Well, as you know, eight is an infinity when it lays on a side, right? And infinity is the way that you actually manifest it. By drawing the infinity mark, you're actually calling in your manifestation. So as I'm doing this, if you concentrate on what you would like to manifest, this is pulling in your manifestation. So eight, it's basically you take a zero and you flip it in a half, and then you split it and it becomes a beautiful eight manifestation, right? So also in Chinese, eight is one of the luckiest numbers, not the seven, but number eight, because it just never ends. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, ebb and flow in life, right? And so you have eight, eight. And so they said back in the day that eight wasn't magical. But then as people in the collective started believing that eight is magical indeed, connected to the heart of the lion, to courage, to let go of the old, to Sirius portal. As we know, old Egyptians were so connected to Sirius. I'm going to want to go into the Egyptian geometry with this. This is where I'm leading to. And so if you imagine 26, right? 2 and 6 is 8. So you have the 888 today. Three eights. What are you going to do with that? Like, really have your thoughts pure. It is fire. Leo is tied to fire. So you might want to light a candle, to burn any blockages that you have. But your pure heart intention, it's just as good to really put your wishes out into the universe. So, yes, let's go into Egypt and connection to Sirius. Please, Isha.
Well, thank you. I love what you said about the power of the eight. Um, the other way that I see the eight is when you have a circle, like
Mm-hmm.
let's say time wise. So then you have
Mm-hmm.
a time looping. So then the way that it torsions is that it
Mm-hmm.
comes together through the center and then it creates an eight or an infinite. So then you're torsioning the looping system that you or the looping sequence that you had been generating. And once you create the singularity, you're capable to interdimensional travel anywhere you can. So for instance, even at the cellular level, when you're doing this, when your DNA is supercoiling, when it's doing this point of torsion does not only activates or deactivates dormant DNA. It also, the way that it does it is actually by interdimensionally traveling to another um, resonant sequence of timeline or spatiotemporal constant that is mirroring into that sequence of DNA, or in this case, going to another sequence of DNA, from sequence of DNA to sequence of DNA, or from sequence to DNA reflecting back into the space memory network, that space time fabric. So, in that point that you reach that center, then you can access to choose any genetic sequence that you want to go to, perhaps another one that you haven't activated. So, then you activate on a specific timeline, or perhaps one that you and therefore deactivating this one, and activating. So that part of activating and deactivating normally happens even simultaneously, because you need to deactivate something in order to activate another thing. So it's just traveling back and forward from different genetic sequences that are allowing us through the very same looping to torsion it and then access to whatever you want to access. So just play, like you can even play. Okay, so um, if I am organically doing this, if my mitochondrial DNA, if my nuclear DNA is doing this, okay, so what do I choose to activate? And then you can visualize how your DNA is supercoiling, and at that point of intersection, at that singularity, that cross section is tapping through that amount of energy that it's generating through a point, a deeper point, deeper point, a deeper point that is actually connecting to another node, in another sequence of DNA, whatever you choose to activate within you, whatever you want to choose.
Well, as you know, portals, you go deeper, 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 deeper into the vortex, right? So
Yes.
that is how you change. In the plain words, this would be equivalent of deactivating. I'm not going to eat fried chicken anymore. I'm going to eat grilled chicken, right? I'm deactivating fried chicken gene, because I want to trim down my body, and I'm activating the grilled chicken or chocolate. I'm not going to eat chocolate, or I'm going to eat sugar-free chocolate from now on, right? So it's the same way what you were describing. I'm deactivating that and I'm activating that. And then it is a portal that you kind of go through. It takes about 28 days, right? For the energy to move through, and for the cells to rejuvenate, for the sequencing to take place. So indeed, that makes absolute sense. Yes. So back to Egypt, please. Serious portal.
Well, speaking of the 20 and how it relates to Egypt, well, we know that the sun and also the moon were very important factors in ancient Egyptian cosmology. Not because they would have a specific cult for them. Perhaps later on they did, yet originally it was more about acknowledging the power that this, let's say, celestial bodies have in relationship to time, in
Mm-hmm.
relationship to the water, and how, and of course at the cellular level. Because interestingly enough, if we tap into the cycles of like the numerical values of how these stars interact with the earth and with one another, for instance, one magic code is 108. Even the Tibetans use it in their malas,
Correct.
So 108 is the times that, like, if you count the distance between um, the moon and the earth, it's duplicating
Mm-hmm.
108 times the earth, the moon, and then it's the distance. And for the earth, if you multiply 108 times the earth, then it's equivalent to the radius, to the circumference of the sun. So 108 is a 9, and all these numbers, 9, 20, 13, are very much embedded also in our own DNA. They would not only related to the sun, they would also relate it intimately to glyphs, to kins, soil kins, that are the representation, in the case of the 20, the Hunaku, which is the everything. They would say it's just the sun. That's the way that they translate it. Actually, originally, it's the kind of the house of the one. Why 20? Because if we see the sequences in which our physical structure creates a portal or a stargate, you just need to generate the Vitruvius man with your
Mm-hmm.
body. Then you have 5 directions that you're pointing out with your head, with your arms, and with your legs. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're creating a pentagon. Now, if you project that pentagon to the 4 directions that I was talking in the beginning, like the 4 royal stars, 5 plus 4, you have 20. And those
Mm-hmm.
20 is like having 4 suns, you know? And the fifth is you, is the completion of the four in you, in one,
Mm-hmm.
So now, um, the technology of the stargates, the gateways, portals, and using the alignment of these stars, in the case of using, imagine the power of the egregor that has given to the eight. So then, even though there are different type of intentions, even though they could be like different agendas underneath the portal of the 888, because it's the Gregorian calendar, we are capable to choose whatever we want to tap into, and bring in full coherence from our wholeness and grounding, and saying, okay, so for me right now, right here, 888 is this, and that's what it is. So then you can actually, for instance, the 888 is a 24, which is very much connected to the stranded DNA, the 24 stranded DNA. By means of this, it's the 12 stranded DNA, which are codes that are coming now and that have been coming for a while now, yet our level of awareness is bigger. But it's very much connected to the vector equilibrium, and that's part of what we will be doing in Egypt. So the vector equilibrium is the most stable geometry that I have been talking about, that say that the field, the ether, is full uh, of this geometry, the vector equilibrium geometry. And the vector equilibrium geometry has 12, 12 faces, 24 vertices, 14 vertices, and 24 edges. Okay, so there you go. There is the 24. So that's why it's 24 stranded DNA, because though it's 12 faces, and to some extent it has 20 vertices, edges, 24 edges. So now, when you are in relation to Sirius and Egypt, as I was saying, part of what we will be doing in Egypt is when you acknowledge yourself as the very same Stargate, in that position as the Vitruvius Man and so forth, projected into 4 directions. This is just part of it. You can continue projecting yourself into 8 directions, which will be the 4 ordinal points, the 4 cardinal points, the 4 ordinal points and so forth until you complete a full sphere. Because ultimately a stargate, it's not just, like, now you're here, you cross, and now you're here, and this is separate from this. For you to cross from here to here, actually, and all forms of manifestation, this field needs to be unified. So then whatever happens here, you will also be bringing part, including yourself here, which is the main part. It's your own universe. So this is something, why I'm saying this is something super important, because now in Stargate's activations, um, it's not like we are moving completely and detaching from one reality from another. It's super important for us to acknowledge that we are bringing the best of ourselves that we accomplished due to the reality where we are at, honoring it into
Mhm.
this new reality, which for me, it's like critical for manifestation. And you will tell
Mhm.
me about it, because sometimes we think like, oh, I'm just done. I want to move
Mhm.
forward into the next thing. And it's like, okay, that's great. But if you don't honor what happened as a whole in what you just experienced, then it's like you're becoming fragmented. And that's why you end up repeating the same thing, because the universe tells you, okay, so as you came in fragmented, then you need to repeat the parts that you left in the other reality, so that now you acknowledge yourself in that completion. So it's super important to honor this reality. This is why unity consciousness or unified consciousness is a major key, because then we are not in conflict with any reality that we're experiencing. And this is the beauty, one of the beauties of humanity, because we go through so many emotions, like the tides of the
Mhm.
water itself. So
Mhm.
now, when it comes to Egypt, before going there, um, when it comes to Egypt, because you have been there as well, that energies are amplified. And just like in Sedona, just like in all these places that have this magnificent energy, vortex energy, because it's pure. This is why they have also so many stargates, because it's pure. It shows high anomalies. What would be the anomaly? In this case, the anomaly would be that it's different from this reality. It's an anomaly for the overlay. It doesn't mean that it's an anomaly overall. And it's an anomaly due to the high amounts of electric energy that it has. What is electric energy? Like Regulus, zoom, intention, focus, piercing energy, zoom, right into the point. So when we are not afraid of that force within us,
Mhm.
then we can experience our full manifestation, our full manifestation. And our
Mhm.
full manifestation is not only what you have here,
Mhm.
what you think it's the best. Your full manifestations is or are what your body's resonating, and it's bringing
Mhm.
into your reality. So don't, like, not being afraid of our full manifestation, honoring it, is therefore showing that we are capable to embody the mastery, the the usage of, or even becoming those stargates, and doing it from a state of awareness. Because then fear is what creates the distortion in between all those timelines. That's what happened, some of the things that happened in Atlantis, and what it's being restored, and part of what we will be doing. Because the fear of attaching to a specific outcome is what kept the battle or the war over the timelines. So
Mhm.
it's pretty different, and I would love to know what you think about this, Adriana. It's pretty different doing a shift in a timeline because you think it's the right one, rather than tapping into the highest resonance that you can emit, and from that highest resonance and the in your own field, shift your own inner timelines. And when it comes to collective events, then the highest resonance that people responsible for their shadow under light come up with, tapping into from a space of neutrality into the highest resonance that they can bring into this reality, or just acknowledge and bring into manifestation through their very same acknowledgement and awareness into this reality. Like, it's done.
Correct. Well, you unpacked like a whole huge bag there. First of all, I'm gonna start with the Egypt, or like Sedona, or Mount Shasta, or any sacred space in Mexico when we went, right? When you show up there, everything that you have, it's gonna show up. So it's gonna magnify. It's exactly what you said. If it's good, it's good. If it's a shadow, it's a shadow. If you're absolutely elated, you're absolutely elated. I mean, when I was in Egypt last September, things were showing up for me. And you have to know how to sit with yourself in order to process, right? So, how do you face your fears? You face them head on. It's something you talk about. This is why today, 8 8, Regulus and Lion and Leo, all about courage. So, courage is facing your fears, facing your shadow, everything that is showing up for you. You can definitely see when you ask people and you can say, you went to Mount Shasta. Oh, I had a horrible time. You had a horrible time because you had things to process. Were you sitting with yourself? Or instead, were you just enhancing yourself in any way, or drinking, things, or trying to take yourself and escape out of body and not face yourself in this current 3D, right? So whatever shows up, the best place to go is to go on the inside of yourself, opening yourself up, and then allowing whatever is coming up to feel through it, because it's just emotions, right? That's all it's going to be. Some old fears are playing out, and you have to face those fears and say, okay, this is what happens, that's what's going to happen, right? So that's a first step. I would say a first step of manifestation is, when you want a new reality, you have to let go of the old one, right? And that was something that you were saying with an 8, right? You have to let go of the old in order for the new to come in. So that usually means, again, I'm not going to eat sugar anymore. Now I'm going to replace it with that. Or I'm not going to eat fried chicken anymore. I'm going to eat grilled chicken. Or I'm not going to be chubby anymore. I'm going to start going to gym, right? Or I am going to have a millionaire mindset. So I'm going to stop thinking thoughts of lack and start having thoughts of abundance and prosperity, right? So this is first thing. And what you're talking about, I absolutely love what you touched upon, was aligning with your highest self. Yes, correct. And you know what that means? That means letting go completely of control. And very often, when I see clients and I say, you're going to have to love yourself, the first response is, I don't know how. So often, when you want something better, you don't have programs for that better, right? So we cannot judge anyone for not having programs for better just because they've only had, let's say, the program of lack, instead of having a program for love, or self love, or better, or abundance, or prosperity, or partnership, or whatever you are desiring and wishing to manifest, a new car, a new home, right? So that's why we have these positive and affirmations, and these teachers that put things out, start thinking this way, start doing that, start saying these words, and then people will come and they'll say, well, I'm saying all of these manifestations and all of these positive words, and nothing is happening to me, right? It's not, it's happening to you. It's just that they're here and you still have a shadow that is here that you haven't worked, right? And let's say you're standing here, and so you got to work through this in the order to get here. It's that easy with that manifestation. So what you're talking about, how do I connect to my purest self? which is my oversoul, which is the one who's running the entire show, you have to be open here, right? But often we're limited here by some old belief, and it looks like this. That's the belief. And that could be ancestral, that could be from childhood, that could be from just, hey, it has always been like this. Why should we change it? And then today, stuff to be courageous about is showing up, especially today on this 8-8 portal. Even if you're having a hard time, I invite you to sit with yourself. Put on a really nice music, start meditating, because it's that important to just sit with yourself and allow time and space to work through you and coil down through you so that you actually can then really align with your highest possible self, which is your oversoul, which is your highest possibility, which is exactly what you're asking for, your highest, alignment to that possibility, which already has it. Because if you can imagine it, it's already yours. If you have a yearning in your heart, it is already yours. And then if you're really that aligned and there's nothing blocking you here, the moment you put it out in the universe, you think of it, call it to you, it manifests like this. And the hardest thing is people usually sit with, oh, why hasn't it shown up yet? Like, let's say I'm waiting for a new car, and it got delayed, right? Like, it was supposed to be here sooner, and then it got delayed by 2 weeks. And I'm sitting there and going, why? What have I done? Right? But then realization, I haven't done anything, because I just checked in with myself. It's simply going to take that amount of time for that car to be built for me, right? So it's not me, this is something outside, right? Universe was showing me that there were other vehicles available similar that I could have gotten sooner, but I was in resistance with that. I really wanted that one. So that one is going to take 2 to 4 weeks to build, right? So that is then a realization in me, in my manifestation, right? Of like what is happening in my inner and outer world. Where was I resisting? Why did this get delayed? But it was my own understanding of me, you see? So I
Yeah.
think this is an important key of making peace with that too, not going into a place of fear. Oh my god, why is it now delayed? Now I have to, and then you get upset, and then emotions attach, and then it delays it even furthermore. It puts you on a different vibrational level. So you really have to just keep projecting, and holding the vision. That's why the vision boards are really good. If you're having a hard time not knowing what self-love feels like, put on your vision board word self-love. And the easiest thing is hand over the heart and saying, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And that mantra actually works through everything and anything, because it disillusions any kind of judgment that you hold against yourself or anyone else, but especially yourself, right? Because we tend to judge ourselves for our opinions. So saying I love myself, this illusions that, stops that immediately. And then as a result, I love myself, you open that path. If there's any block, kind of lifts it, you get realigned, you become coherent, right? I love myself, you go back into love, and from place of love, you can actually manifest a lot faster. That's why they say go into place of gratitude if you can't go into place of love, because love is here, gratitude is here, closer to neutrality, opposed to lack being down here. So just being thankful for a place of gratitude gets you closer to a place of love, because in love everything immediately shows up. And are you ready for it to immediately show up? That's the biggest key.
Hmm. I love the way that you put it. And I was just thinking that it's like we know, and there are different points on Earth called the Lee lines,
Mm-hmm.
whether if they are Lee lines that bring, let's say, highest frequencies, and there are other Lee lines that could bring lowest frequencies, and based on that they created very specific technologies and built them there in those areas. It's like if we take that analogy in to our own vessel, and then we say, okay, so the ley lines that, or name them however you want, like
Ley lines, yes, they
ley
call them
lines
also ley
or
lines.
ley lines, but there are other like nodal points or nodal
Yes.
interconnectivities, or the how I love to call it is the Earth's cosmic nexus. So primordial nexus. So anyway, this points, this nexus within is like there are very specific parts in our body that are this would be very interesting, because perhaps it could be related to the cell memories that we have that perhaps are active right now and that are creating a higher frequency or a lower frequency. So once we detect though, like for instance, when you went through a traumatic experience, and then for instance someone grabbed you by the elbow, so
Mm-hmm.
every time that someone grabs you by the elbow, you say like, hey, because those cell memories get activated by that experience, the memory of that experience. So now the way that you can torsion that is, and the way that in ancient Egypt they would do it, would do through pendulums. You know, they would create vortexes with the very same pendulums, not like this, not give me a yes or give me a no. Perhaps to open into the four directions, yes. But then they would amplify clockwise and counterclockwise because the very same pendulum would represent their own body, their own field, their own plasma force, and they would be torsioning that energy that would come through those ley lines, through those light filaments or grid, and then aligning to a different energy, the ones that they wanted to bring into their reality at that moment. And I think that if you want to be literal, you can really create that, you can truly create that vortex within you. We can do it that all the time, every time, if we are when we are asking for something or whatever, but if you're trying to create vortexes, speaking of powerful lands such as Egypt, Sedona, um, Sinai, Socotra Island, name it, many of them, you can actually create a vortex in different ways to torsion that energy. Why I'm saying this in relation to what you were talking about is because when it comes to manifestation, there are very specific ley lines within your body that could be creating a higher, let's say, time dilation, in some cases, for you to manifest something that are related to past memories or past experiences, and that they activate when you are in that moment. So when you create a vortex in those memories, from a space of love, from a space of gratitude, from a space of full trust, as how you were saying, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, from that space, then the vortex is even unifying with your heart vortex, and whatever was there as in memories is dissolving, you know and it don't forcefully need to be entangled with a physical part of your body. It could also be within your own electromagnetic field, which creates a sphere itself. So perhaps it would be, okay, so where it is, okay, this is a highly a very high frequency, filament of my cosmic nexus. This is this is that. And then you start doing your own inner grid work, that will be reflecting later on in your reality. Because as you were saying, everything happens in the perfect time. Everything. When we truly comprehend that, then blame, guilt, like all of that dissolves, because sometimes due to those emotions, things do prolongate. And even if you have those emotions, it's okay because you needed to go through those emotions to let go of whatever needed to be let go of. So, like, it's all orchestrated in a way that whatever you're experiencing right now, it's for the best outcome for you to to align into your divine soul mission, if you choose to believe so, of course, because that's also critical. If you don't choose to know that, more than believe, if you don't choose to know that, then you will be creating another whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that makes absolutely sense. That makes absolute sense. So complete coherence and complete awareness of exactly where you are, you know. That's why we have friendships. That's why we have relationships, because it is that important that sometimes we're not aware of what we're doing. Like, what am I doing wrong? Right? Like, we tend to always have friendships and relationships with the people that have passed something that we haven't passed. You know what I mean? Sometimes we're working on the same thing, and we can kind of share, how do you go about this to pass that, to pass that lesson. And sometimes it's someone has mastered something, right? And then you go, what, how do I go about getting that, right? And then that person tells you, oh, this is how you do it, that's how you do it, that's what worked for me, I don't know what's going to work for you, right? So we're looking for the codes. If we don't have the codes, right, we're looking for the codes, we're looking for the sacred geometries. So universe will always give you. Universe always says, when you're ready, the teacher will appear, right? Whoever that teacher is. So without attaching what's positive, what's negative, however that lesson showed up, however we were supposed to learn that lesson, without, is it negative, is it positive, do you want to repeat the lesson, right, because you're fragmented, or do you want to sit in a coherence and be whole, right? That's very, very important. But I think we should do something very special, which is perhaps do like a little mini meditation of connecting our listeners to the Sirius gates. I felt a segment come very strongly through you as you were speaking, by the way. I think I have Isis with me. So maybe we could do like a little mini meditation of a thousand suns to call in that golden manifestation energies. So if you have an idea, if not, I have a little idea what to do. So it's up to you, Isha, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, sure, let's do something. As you have all, like, I feel that it would be nice if you
Okay.
start and then I can continue.
Correct. Okay, so everyone, take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and feel yourself be present in this moment. I want you to feel the bottom of your feet. And as you have both of your feet on the floor, I want you to imagine one little sun entering your foot. And then we're going to have a second little sun enter your foot. And third sun enter your foot. And all of a sudden, the little suns are starting to multiply. And this meditation is the meditation of thousands little suns. And as they're multiplying on the bottom of your feet, they're multiplying, they're starting to fill up to your ankles. And now that beautiful golden sun energy is coming up from your ankles into your calves. And they're swirling and they're smiling and they're filled with joy and courage and love and passion, prosperity and success. And they're still swirling up into your knees. And now your knees are smiling because the sweet, sunny, shiny thousands suns are swirling. The energies are golden. And from your knees, they're moving up to your hips and you're filling it up. The more suns you have, the more suns are multiplying. And as it's sitting in your hips, is cleaning and clearing out any of the old energies. And now it's going into your root chakra and you're seeing beautiful red. And it's going into your sacral chakra and you're seeing beautiful orange. And thousands of little suns are going into your solar plexus, which is your waist. And now they're cleaning and clearing anything that's holding you back. And it's rising all the way into your heart, which is beautiful light pink or green color. And they're swirling around and cleaning and clearing anything from the past, opening your heart into the future. And now the thousand little suns are going down both of your arms, cleaning and clearing your hand chakras, arm chakras, opening you up to receiving and willing your future and manifestation. And now, thousand little suns are all the way up to your shoulders and to your throat, cleaning and clearing everything out of the way that is not for your highest good, swirling all the way into your head, top of your head, into your crown chakra. And as you are completely filled with this beautiful golden lioness energy of the thousands, swirling, smiling, happy suns, you connect to a galaxy through a Sirius portal. In Sirius color, it's blue. So you're open on the top of your head, on the bottom of your feet, and you're allowing, as you're in complete and full coherence, these beautiful energies to come through. And Isha, if you would like to take through, go ahead.
Thank you. So as you connect with Sirius, you feel that blue plasma stream coming to your crown. Plasma showers of this light spectrum that is resonating with your DNA, activating this blue code in your DNA, connecting to your mitochondria. You feel how your mitochondria are responding in full harmony and recognition to this frequency. The DNA in your mitochondrion. And each circular DNA in your mitochondrion are creating in subtle constructions a projection of an 8. So you have now thousands and thousands of 8s that come together, project holofractally at the center of your heart. And for each infinite, it is 2 petals connected at the intersection, 8 by 8 by 8 by 8 by 8 by 8 by 8, creating an interdimensional lotus flower. This interdimensional lotus flower is rotating clockwise and counterclockwise. And every and each one of the 1,000 suns, its frequency, its solar plasma comes to that core as well. You can even see how that solar plasma starts to become blue as a blue sun, and bringing in all those pristine codes, those primordial codes to your molecular structure of water. Your molecular structure of water starts to resonate as oceans of crystalline fluidity. And in that crystalline fluidity, you see yourself, your true self. Like when you mirror yourself in the water, you see yourself with at the reflection in the reflection of the water. You're seeing yourself, your true self, through the liquid crystalline lattice that your whole construction is creating through the solar plasma, through the Syrian codes. You feel how geometries that were not in your field of awareness before are now coming back online. Each geometry is a symphony, the symphony of your soul, the symphony of your interdimensional vessel, of your oversoul, of your presence, of your essence. You feel the mantle of stars, the mantle of purity that is bringing you through your electromagnetic field, in that field of coherence where only these energies are being amplified in absolute harmony as a womb. Then you become aware of the consciousness of Regulus, of Lyra, and you feel them as two pillars that are holding your presence. So now you have a trinity, a trine group, Sirius, Lyra, and Regulus. So you can bring in your heart just presence, love of who you are, the acknowledgement that everything is within you. You're the stargate, you're the gateway, you're the portal, multiplied by infinite, by infinity. Yet the core where everything resides has the pulse and the beat of your heart, your breath of life that continues to expand across space-time. And across space-time, you unfold your presence, bringing in the codes of that trine group, tapping into the spatio-temporal constants that are connected to the most evolved version of yourself. Those most evolved versions of yourself carry the unity code, the unified consciousness code, wholeness. This is why they are the highest ones. Embrace them, receive them. Be curious about what is it to be your wholeness, about loving yourself in full harmony, in full presence, in full bliss. Every aspect of yourself honoring. And now, in a chalice in front of you, honoring that wholeness, you pour a plasma emission of your wholeness into that chalice. And you rise it to the universe, offering it an extension of yourself, your presence, your essence, for it is infinite within you, and it's a reflection of Source expanding and expressing itself within all. And those codes in that chalice immediately funnel themselves into the whole cosmic nexus, empowering the transition of human evolution right here, right now. Your inner solar discs, represented by each one of the 1,000 suns. Your whole liquid crystalline lattice that sustain those solar discs, completing themselves, each one of them, into your orb body, into your plasma body, into your plasmoid body. And you feel all those filaments of light waves, plasma fluctuations in the vacuum dynamism of presence, and just expanding and imploding, expanding and imploding, expanding and imploding. In that singularity, you allow yourself to create and expanding the love for yourself. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And in the next exhalation and inhalation, you're going to bring in all the electrons through the oxygen of that life force, connecting with your sacred fire, with that warmth of everything that constructs you, and bring in all the other four elements: the earth, the air, the water, and ether, Feel that pentagon projected into four directions as a cross, spinning into eight and into the infinity. And when you exhale, you're going to exhale that breath of life to your manifestation, to that inner love that you're expanding, which is your key to your own hall of records in your heart.
Wow, that was beautiful,
Oh,
powerful.
nice.
Everybody take a moment to come back. That was extremely deep. Woo-hoo-hoo. Wow, you took us. Oh, it's 111. Yeah,
Hmm.
you. It literally was just 111. You
Yes.
just flipped to 112 on a West
Well,
Coast. This
yeah,
is
beautiful.
crazy. You don't make the. You can't make this up.
No, you can't.
To finish the meditation at 111.
Yeah.
Wow. Complete unity. You know what I mean? Like alignment. See the three stars and then yourself. Wow.
Yeah.
Extremely powerful. So thank you all for joining us today. Today is not such a long transmission, but we wanted to bring these powerful codes through. We're so excited that you were able to join all of us and be part of this amazing Lionsgate transformation. So we love you all as always, and thank you for joining us and being part of our universe and co-creating together. Isha.
Yes. Well, if you guys want to ground a little bit more and just you can just say, because a lot of people has asked me what does hunuk mean. So hunuk is the space where source resides, which is everywhere. So normally
Mm-hmm.
when I do something like this, I just count from 9 to 0. In each number I say hunuk, because then it's
Mm-hmm.
bringing you to your own core, which is source, the source within. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, beautiful tribe, for joining us. Thank you for your beautiful comments. I love you. We love you. And may you experience yourself as a creation, as a result of the creation that comes when the different parts of yourself come together in unity, in love. And may your presence continue to celebrate the earth and the universe, and the universe celebrate you, and the earth celebrate you as a feedback of the brightness that you bring to this reality. Thank you, everyone.
Much love. Thank you, Isha. That was absolutely powerful. So
Thank
thank
you.
you all.
Likewise, likewise. I love the Thousand Suns. I love it. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
full on Leo. Bring on the Leo.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. I loved it. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you. I love you. Big hug, heart to heart. And until the next one, everyone.
Yes. Love you all. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Bye.
joining us. Take care.